Hello and welcome to Vida Fútbol. My name is Laureano. I am a UEFA B licensed coach, currently living and coaching in Germany. In this video, we're going to discuss the 3-2-1 formation. This is for 7-a-side football. And in this video, we're going to have the opponents be set up in a 2-3-1 formation. I recently made a video of the 2-3-1 formation, at least with the focus in that formation, playing against this particular formation. So if you're interested in watching that video, I have left it in the description section below, or you can click on the card above and you can watch that video as well. Okay, so let's begin with looking at the setup for this formation. Okay, so as we can see here, we have 3 in the back, and depending on what type of players you have, if you have 3 center back focused players, then these players are going to be essentially staying a little bit closer together. If you have 1 center back and 2 outside defenders or midfielders that you are playing as 2 on the outsides, then these players will be essentially moving away from the center back and using the wings to cover the pitch there. If we take a look at this formation, it looks a little bit like a triangle, and that is good for the center of the pitch as you have the center of the pitch well covered. But as we can see here, the wings are left quite open. So again, if we have 3 players in the back that are more defensively focused, then these players will remain a little bit more together and the wings would be a little bit more open. But if these players are something like fullbacks or outside midfielders in the 11-a-side game, then these players will be a little bit more comfortable going out, up and down, in and out. So again, it depends on which type of players you have. Next, we have the 2 midfielders. So these players are going to be very important because there's only 2 of them. They will have to communicate very well with one another so that the center of the pitch is always covered. When one goes up, when one goes down, when one is helping on the outside to try and create a 2 versus 1 situation or 2 versus 2 situation to try to recover the ball, the other one will have to stay and cover the middle of the pitch. Should the opponents progress, then this player will be there to help the defenders in the back. Okay, whether it be in between the 2 defenders or it be in front of the center defender, then this other defensive midfielder will cover. So then the movements are dependent on the type of players you have. Okay, and then of course here we have the lone striker, and this player will be the one adding the pressure at the beginning, steering the game to the outsides, to the center, moving side to side to help the 2 midfielders, being there as a support to check in, to create a passing option for the outside backs. So this player will have a bit to do. So it's important that this player is essentially fit and ready to move back and forth, side to side, and to be that one player that the rest of the players are looking for during a time when the ball is recovered. That's going to be important. Okay, so that's the 3-2-1 and how it looks. Again, the outside wings are left open, and depending on which formation we're playing against, we just have to essentially cope with that. So now let's take a look at how this formation matches up with the 2-3-1. Here we have the 2-3-1 formation and our 3-2-1 formation on the left side. So we are being represented here by the X's and the opponents are here represented by the O's. Okay, or black and yellow versus white and black. Okay, so we can take a look there. The matchup on top for us is 2 versus 1 disadvantage. In the midfield, we have a 2-1 numerical advantage, at least when the left and right midfielders are spread out. But when they come in, then we have, of course, a numerical disadvantage there as well. Where we have the biggest advantage is with the 3 defenders, because they will be surrounding the lone striker there. And of course, during build-up, this is a huge advantage, right? Because 3 players versus 1 will mean that there's always a player available. So for example, if the striker covers this pass, then this pass would be available, right? And then their player would be required to help out there, okay? Leaving this center to be a 2 versus 2, all right? So there are advantages and disadvantages throughout the pitch depending on where the ball is, or the opponents, what type of strategy they're imposing. But again, advantage in the back, numerical advantage in the center when the outside midfielders are spread out. But when they're tucked in, there is a 3-2 numerical disadvantage. On top, a 2-1 numerical disadvantage as well. Okay, so that is how these 2 formations match up. Now let's take a look at how we defend against this formation. So here we have the O's with the ball, and And at first we're going to do a high press, just so we take a look at how we will move and where we go and who we cover. So the first idea, of course, is to identify where the ball is. And if the ball is slightly to the left, then most likely the pass is going to be to the left side. Okay, so by having that, we already move a little bit towards the left side. Okay, but not too much. We don't want to be too far out to the left where if the goalkeeper decides to go to the right side, that we don't have enough time to essentially cover ground, and then we have two players available. And this could be dangerous, of course, because a quick pass there, we go here, we go there, we shift, this player checks in, and then that's a quick wall pass, and then this player is, clearly in their way towards our goal. Okay, so we do not want to leave too much space open. So here our player is in position, and we got to remember that these are midfield players. By pushing them up, we're exposing our center of the pitch. But because it's a high press, and if the team wants to build up, then of course their player in the center, which is only one by the way, would have to come in and help as well, right? Leaving the striker to either stay up top waiting for a long ball or checking in as well. But again, with our numerical advantage of 3-1, we should have at least one player, if not two players, to essentially cope with that situation. And because we have three, the one of them can either support on the outside or be ready for a pass to the other side, or go to the right side where essentially the play is going to be. Okay, so our three defenders should be able to cover the center during a high press, but it is dangerous because the center of the pitch is open, and a pass right through the middle will be dangerous, of course, because again, we're exposed on the outsides, especially on this right side and our left side, just because we are essentially going to the other side. Okay, so having all those things in mind are important, because now we know, okay, well, we want to start moving to that side, but we do not want to expose any free space and any quick passes, because anything could be dangerous if it's a quick reaction and we are too slow to get to whoever has the ball. Okay, so if the goalkeeper passes to the left side, striker goes and covers the pass back to the goalkeeper. Our right midfielder would essentially approach here, and this approach is more so to cover the pass to the midfield player and also to cover a pass to the striker. But now here we have 1, 2, 3 passes covered. This other defensive player is pretty much out, covered by the striker. So then the other midfielder can already shift into the middle and cover on a one-on-one versus the opponent's midfield. Okay, this would of course leave the left side clearly open. So by knowing that, we shift over and one of our defensive players essentially scoots over, not too far, but with enough space so that they can react quickly. Should it be a pass to the outside, then we're there and we're pressing. Should it be just a long ball and then having the striker chase, then we are close enough so that we can add the pressure and hopefully buy enough time for our other defensive players to get behind the ball again. So space, distance is important. But here we have the pass go to the outside. We add the pressure there. Now it's the right midfielder who pressures from the top, cover the pass back to the defender. Striker pressures as well, covering. And this has to be done quickly because this player can help our midfielder to change from covering the top to covering the center so that our striker can cover the top. There is less space for this player to make a decision. Okay, so now the only options are essentially to pass directly straight or just to clear it, right? So those are the type of spaces that we want to cover. And of course, the other midfielder will now cover the center of the pitch, any defensive duties that are left, and essentially help with, it's possible that the other outside midfielder tucks in a little bit to try and help so that the striker can go into that free space. But again, we have three defenders, so one can go on a one-on-one there to try to cover the pass. Should that pass be made, then we are there to essentially stop that play. Okay, so either we stop it in that pass or we stop it here in this pass, but we definitely want to put as much pressure as possible. Our goal is to try to recover the ball with a high press, and if we do, then we go straight into goal if possible. If not, we try to build up. But being so close to the goal, we definitely want to have at least a shot on target, a corner kick, or try to have the opponents foul us as we attack the goal. Okay, so that is a high press there. All right, let's put the players back in position. Okay, so what if we don't want to do a high press? What if we want to let them, play out the back a little bit? Then what we do is we allow the first couple passes to happen, and as that's happening, we're shifting and moving, but we're not necessarily attacking the ball yet. Okay, we're just getting into a better position so that when we are ready to put the pressure on, we do, right? But we stay compact, we stay together, and we definitely cover the center of the pitch, and we try to see what they want to do, right? Do they want want to go up? Do they want to simply move the ball up the pitch little by little? And if they do, that's okay. We will let them. Once they shift over to the other side, then we adjust and, shift together, move together until, we're ready to add the pressure. Here, for example, again, they're just rotating the ball and we're moving as well, moving all together, shifting together. Eventually, we'll get to a point where it's time for us to try and recover the ball, right? And that is most likely when they are getting closer and closer to our half. So now let's say we are in this particular situation. So now here we are. Once the pass is there to the outside midfield and they are on our half, this is where the pressure comes from the back and then from the midfield. Other midfielder covers the center of the pitch like we talked about earlier, and then we're shifting. And one of our defenders, the left defender here, would have to cover and keep an eye on the other outside midfielder because the open space is there, right? It's just a matter of whether they take advantage of it or not. Okay, so again, we're in the situation where it's difficult for them to create a pass, but let's say they manage to get a pass to this defender that is moving up through the spaces and they shift and they cover, and we have to continue to shift and move and run and, get to the point where, okay, we have to increase the pressure there. The best thing for us to do is to stay close together so that when these passes are made, that we are there to have two players try to attack and put pressure so that we can recover the ball. Okay, so the moving has to happen together. It has to happen quickly as well, and essentially it's possible, right? It could work. It could be realistic for us to recover the ball by essentially letting them pass, having them spread the field, and then give a pass to the outside. And by us staying compact and shifting together throughout, we essentially focus on a particular player. Who do we want to allow to get the ball? And once we have a play or a position in which we want to attack, then we have to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then everybody goes in that direction and puts the pressure on. Let me try to get the ball. Okay, so now let's take a look at how we would attack with this formation. So here, again, in the 3 versus 1, during a build-up or playing out the back, quite easy because we have these 3 players and we can spread them out a little bit more, right? Make the striker work even more going there, and depending on where we have our midfielders, it's possible that we either have this player push up there or we have one of the midfielders check in so that when the striker comes, now we have more space for the center defender to push up, which would then allow the other defender to spread out, which would require our right defender to tuck in a little bit more and help out as the play progresses to the other side. Okay, so that is something that we can do there for us to take advantage of the space that we have, because with the 2-3-1, if, like I mentioned earlier, if they're defending with the 3 midfielders together, then that would have some open space on the outside, and if that's what they do, then we take advantage of that space, right? So here we are with a little bit of space, and with 2 midfielders, we can always have one help and one cover the center of the pitch. And with the striker helping out as well, then we can create a triangle here where we are always in possession, or at least trying to be in possession of the ball. Okay, so we get the ball there, then we have a little bit more activity, try to stay on side, and then one of the 2 midfielders, if not both midfielders, go in for the attack. Okay, so that would be attacking on the outside. It is also possible to attack in the center of the pitch, but we would have to wait for when the 2 outside midfielders are really spread out, and we try to take advantage of this 2 versus 1 numerical advantage there. And that might not happen so often, but when it does, we definitely need to be aware of it and take advantage of it. Okay, so that's it for the 3-2-1 formation versus a 2-3-1 formation. If you want to support my channel, you can visit my website, and we have some merchandise there that you guys can purchase. We have some shirts and hoodies, so check that out and feel free to order. Again, everything that you purchase helps this channel grow. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't watched the other video where I focus on the 2-3-1, then check that out. The link is in the description section below. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, comment that in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you have any ideas on any other videos, again, comment that in the comment section below. Also, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.